I seek refuge of Allah from Shaitan the outcast, in the name of Allah, who is the most gracious and the most merciful. Respected ma'am and my fellows, Assalamu alaikum. My name is Shazarul, number 17. Today the topic of my presentation is synopsis. Firstly, I have to tell you what is synopsis. A research synopsis is a short outline of what your research thesis is and all the steps you propose to follow in order to achieve them. It gives you and your supervisor a clear view of what the research aims at achieving and within what time frame. The research synopsis is the plan for your research project. It provides the research objectives, the proposed methods for data collection, recording formats, questionnaire, and interview guides. The protocol synopsis. Protocol synopsis is an overview summary of the protocol. The schedule of events is a tabular description of all study-related events and assessments, including subject screening, enrollment, safety assessments, efficacy, evolution, pharmacokinetics, sampling, etc. Is synopsis a team effort? Yes, it probably would not be only you who contributed the efforts for making the project. So make sure you should write all the names to let others know who all contributed to the project work. If it is a team effort, the whole team must be attributed and no one should be left behind. Structure of synopsis. The length of synopsis should not be too much. An average of 2 to 3 pages will be sufficient, but can be modified or extended depending upon the project. The main aim of preparing a project synopsis is to provide an objective and working procedure of the project. For preparing a synopsis, there is a particular protocol that needs to be followed. Some of the important things that need to be included in a project synopsis are: number 1, title; number 2, need for the study and hypothesis; number 3, aims and objectives; number 4, literature review; number 5, materials and methods; number 6, operational definition; number 7, data collection procedure and data analysis; number 8, references; number 9, official requirements. Now let us discuss each part of the synopsis. First one is title. Title is the first and foremost step to write the project. The project title say all about what your project is based on. The title must be short and related to the content in the project. Going off the track will lose the interest of people and there is something you don't want. So make sure the title of the project is under the content and context of the material inside. Next one is hypothesis. A hypothesis is the presumed explanation of different variables at a time. It is the tentative prediction or explanation of relationship between two or more variables. The hypothesis helps in setting the own benchmarks based on which you will be able to do research work. The research hypothesis must give in not less than 200 words. Aim of synopsis. The aim is about what you hope to do, your overall intention in the project. Aims are statements of intent written in broad terms. Aims set out what you hope to achieve at the end of the project. Next is objective. Objectives lay out how you plan to accomplish your aims. While aims are broad in nature, objectives are focused and practical. They tend to pinpoint your research more immediate effects. They include a list of practical steps and tasks you are going to take to meet your aims. Objectives are typical numbered so each one stands alone. Each objective must have a concrete method set out. If you are having trouble developing this, writing out a research timeline before defining your objectives may help. Objectives should not include the word know or understand. They do include active verbs such as state, explain, outline, list, describe. The objective should be SMART, that is specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, time constraint. After setting the objectives for synopsis report, the next step is literature review. It describes the work done by others either at local or international level on it or similar subject. It provides a short summary of previous research that is closely related to your topic. It evaluates the quality of research and tell what are the findings. If closely related research is not available, use something you consider parallel and then make the case for its implications. Literature review assists in identifying various variables in the research project and conceptualize their relationship. The reviewer can assess the work put in by the researcher and can also assess in assessing the feasibility of the study. That's all from my side. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Naila Kiran and my roll number is 32. The topic which I am going to elaborate is components of synopsis. The main or major components of synopsis has been discussed in part 1. Now I am going to discuss its materials and methods. But before going towards it, we have to revise that what is synopsis? Synopsis is generally a brief summary or general survey of something. Like it explains plan of your research project, that what you are going to do. Materials and methods include the research methodology forms the core of the research project. It means that the materials and methods are the most important part of any research project. The methodology should cover the following aspects: study design, study settings, sampling, variables, controls, study methods, data collection, data analysis, ethical clearance. And we will discuss all of these points in detail. Study design. We have to mention the name of appropriate study design, that through which design we are going to conduct our research. It could be either descriptive designs, observational analytical designs, experimental designs. In descriptive designs, as the name indicates, that it includes survey study, observational study, epidemiological description of disease occurrence. In observational analytical designs, we have to conclude prospective study, like if we are going to conduct research on the future aspects, retrospective study if we are going to conduct research on the past, follow-up study if something is happening in present. Experimental designs, it includes animal studies, therapeutical, clinical trials, drugs. Follow-up study, study of natural history of a disease. Study settings, a mention about the research setting should be made. This includes information about, as the name indicates, that setting. Setting means name and the place where the research work is to be conducted, that where you are going to conduct your research. Duration of the study. How long will the study take with dates? Like you have to make your timetable that how long your study will take. Sample size, how many patients will be included? If there are groups, how many per group are included in your research work? Sampling. Sampling is selecting a sample of appropriate size for the study. The study population can be population of cases, population of people, or population of recipients of certain treatment. The sample size should be adequate to apply all relevant tests of statistical significance. The samples should be representative of the population and should be reliable. There are many methods for sampling, like simple random, systematic, stratified sampling, cluster sampling. Samples are the representative of the population. That's why they should be valid, reliable. And the methods which include sampling, these are simple random. What is simple random sampling? A simple random sample is a subset of statistical population in which each member of the subset has an equal probability of being chosen. A simple random sample is meant to be an unbiased representation of a group. And the next is systematic sampling. Systematic sampling is the random sampling method. Like it is a type of random sampling method that requires selecting sample based on a system of intervals in a membered population. Third one is stratified sampling. A stratified sample is one that ensures the subgroups of a given population are each adequately represented within the whole sample of population of research study. Cluster sampling. A cluster sampling is a probability sampling method in which you divide a population into clusters, such as districts or schools, and then randomly select some of these clusters as your sample. Now, you have to conclude that which sampling method you are going to conduct. Variables. Variables are the factors that change. As the name indicates, variable. These changes can affect the outcome of a research project. Thus, it is important to identify the variables at the planning stage. When you are going to plan your research project, you have to plan that through which variables you are going to conduct your research. They should be quantified with a measurable unit. Knowledge of the various variables in a research project will assist in defining the objectives. Like when you know that which variables through which you are going to conduct your research, it would be better for your research work. Usually, objectives of a research will be to see the effect of independent variables on the dependent variables. There are some types of variables which we should know about them. Independent variable, these are the variables that can be manipulated by the researcher. Like these variables can be changed by the researcher, and the effects of that are observed on the other variables. For example, amount of vitamins given, impact of drug on cancer, the dosage and timing, salt. Like these are the variables that you can change. Dependent variables, the changes occur as a result of independent variables. Independent variables were the variables that you can change those variables, but dependent variables are the variables that occur as a result of independent variables, like lifespan, impact of drug on a cancer, the amount which patient should take is independent variable, but the impact of drug on the patient is dependent variable. Intervening variables, as the name indicates, that these variables are in between independent and dependent variables. These may influence the effect of independent variables on the dependent variables. For example, while studying the response of HIV, human immunodeficiency virus, which causes AIDS, to heart highly active antiretroviral therapy. It is a therapy which is given to the AIDS patient. The outcome may be influenced by the presence of anti-tubercular drugs. Like we can say that this heart therapy, was given to the AIDS patient. Now, the intervening variable, that is anti-tubercular drugs. If anti-tubercular drugs is given to the patient having AIDS, then the therapy would be more efficient. Background variables. These are the changes that are relevant in the groups or population in the study. These need to be included in the study. Like these are must. For example, age, sex, and ethnic origin. Control. Control groups increase the validity of a research project. They usually consist of units of same population but differ in some aspects. Controls are not necessary for all research projects. As far as possible, they should be used in all analytical studies, drug trials, and intervention programs. Study method. Which methods you are going to study your research work. Here, the researcher will have to describe the method of data collection, which may be in the form of data collection. We are discussing about techniques of data collection, and these include questionnaire, interviews, medical examination, laboratory investigation, screening procedure. A sample of the performer should be prepared and attached. The possible cost involved and any financial assistance received must be mentioned. The above mentioned methods of data collection you can use. It depends on your research work, and also it depends on your financial assistance provided by any financial company. Data analysis is an important part of a research project because a good analysis leads to good results. The plans for data analysis should be mentioned under the following heads: statistical methods, computer programs used, and data sorting method. A general statement Appropriate statistical methods will be used, must be avoided. Ethical clearance. Wherever necessary, ethical committee clearance from the institute should be obtained. The certificate must be attached. Ethical clearance is required in all human and animal studies. Like when you're conducting your research and you need human or animal as your data, as your sample, then you must have ethical clearance. Reference. All references quoted in review of literature and anywhere else in the synopsis should be listed here. And those references would be in Harvard style, Vancouver style, and note. And out of these reference styles, Vancouver style is easy to follow, and RGUHS, it is University of India, follow or recommend Vancouver style. Official requirements. A synopsis is incomplete if it does not contain the following information: name of the researcher and designation, name and designation of the guide or co-guide, name and designation of head of department or institution in the institution in which a student is carrying his or her synopsis, name of the institution, signatures of all with official seal. Concluding remarks. Synopsis writing is an important step in a research project. A good synopsis will give maximum information in minimum words. A well conceived synopsis will go a long way in convincing the reviewer about the ability of the researcher to conduct the project. In cases of need for financial assistance, the request will be considered favorably. Thus, all research workers should make efforts to prepare a well structured synopsis. Thank you so much.